Hi, and welcome to another recording of Destiny Success Training. And of course, as you all know very well, I'm your trainer and host, Reverend Walter Mwambazi, International TN's trainer and lecturer. And we are taking you through, as you all know, the third orientation training. As you all know, it's the 8 steps to mastering the TN's network building system, and this is part of the Millionaires in the Making training, which is coming from the website millionairesinmotion.net. Now, we've been looking at the 8 steps to success. As you already know, we have a part 2 and a part 1 to this training, and so let's look at those again. Just as a recap, we've got the dream. We did a pretty detailed study of the dream just to get you to have an idea of what it's like to set up the dream and get the recording done. And then number 2, we have the promise, which is the commitment that you make to yourself and to the people around you about what you're willing to do to be successful. Then the third one is the name list, and in the name list we're obviously looking at the names that you're going to be able to put together to get you started on this success trip. And then number 4 is the invitation. This is the greatest skill you'll ever master in this business, how to effectively create a list and then invite those people to take a look at your opportunity. We studied a lot of different strategies that you have to make that a success. Then we looked at the presentation. Presentation is key. How you present something determines how people respond to it. So presentation is everything, and that's why it's so important not only that you invite people correctly, but you take them to the right presentation. A lot of people are killing and destroying their own distributors or potential prospects and distributors by simply showing them the wrong presentation or the wrong way to present. Remember, first impressions matter, so how you present matters. Today we'll be looking at follow-up, we'll be looking at checking and servicing, and we'll be looking at copy or duplicate. These are the 8 steps to success. And so we're going to move on to the first one, which is to follow up. How do you follow up? There are basically 2 types of people that you're going to get when you do a meeting. After a presentation, you will get 2 types of people, either the yes people or the no people. Now let's look and see what the no people are like. How do you handle no people? Now, you see, first of all, you got to follow them up within 24 hours. In other words, they've not joined yet. They're thinking about it. They haven't joined, they haven't signed up the form. So you follow them up within 24 hours, and then you answer more questions from them. Remember that if you did a good presentation, you probably had quite a bit of information. Most of them will tell you that they don't have money or whatever, but really, you're going to answer more questions. And at the same time, you're going to use the 3-way call method with your upline to determine whether there's any more things that they need sorted out. Now, I'll be honest with you, if you're getting 200-300 leads a week, you're not going to really go through any of this. But in the beginning, because you're new, you really need everybody that you meet, and so you're going to want to sort of like find out, maybe ask your upline to come on board and help you to find out what issues they have and what is really stopping them from joining. And then promote other meetings and tools like the DVD and booklet, as well as email series. For me, one of the most effective methods, I think, is just to get them to continue on your email series so they can continue to receive emails about the business and further explanations. You'll be amazed how many people will tell you they're not ready to join your business today, and then 3, 5, 6 months down the line, due to change in circumstances and situations in their life, they turn around and tell you, hey, I think I'm ready to run with this business. Do you still have that opportunity? So always keep these people nearby. Follow-up is absolutely key. Never throw away all your prospects. Now, also get definite answers in order to determine what next. In case these guys decide that they're not interested in doing the business, then you need to know that so that it can help you to know what next. Now, a rule of thumb: if they keep missing meetings 3 times in a row with excuses, drop them and return after 1 month. And if still missing meetings, forget them and move on. Now let me explain that. Look, you invite somebody to this Saturday, they don't show up, they don't give you an excuse. You call them next week, they say, okay, I'll come, then they don't show up, they don't give an excuse. And then you call them to the next meeting again, and they don't come and they don't show up. When that happens, what you ought to do is actually leave them for a month or 2 and then get back to them then and see what they say at that time. If they're going to be willing to do the come to a meeting or not. Maybe they've got circumstances and factors that are stopping them. And if again they miss, then in my opinion, you really just need to drop them and move on with somebody else and get back to them maybe after 6 months or 1 year. But the idea really is just forget about them for now and move on to those that are interested in coming through to your meetings. Now we go to the yes people, and after registration, fix an appointment for the kit handover, and if out of town, then do it over the phone or on the internet. And you can use Skype, you can use Google Talk, you can use whatever, but do not skip or overlook this whole process of the kit handover or the registration process after kit handover. You see, when these people decide to join, your job really is to help them get an idea of the kit. Now, we have done the kit handover as a training in these modules that you're learning right now, so you can go back and refer to that and then use your notes. And with your notes, you can literally walk them through line by line. Remember, the kit handover is 4 sections. You must never forget them. Number 1 is to explain the kit and the price list. Number 2 is to get their first order. Number 3 is to schedule the new distributor orientation like this one. And number 4 is to review the tools. Now, it's very cardinal. Remember, the purpose of the kit handover is to get their first order. So you want to know what exactly they intend to do with this business. Are they coming in just to buy and be a consumer, or are they coming in to become a business builder? And which type of business building are they doing? Part-time, full-time? Are they coming in? Are they going to be selling, or are they going to be network building? Which aspect are they looking at, and how much do they want to make? These are very, very important things that you need to know almost immediately. So remember, yes people, you take them through a kit handover. And let me tell you guys, if you're not doing kit handovers, you are literally shooting your business in the foot, because every person that's going to join won't have an idea what to do, and they won't have a guide on how to go about this. Now, does this mean that when people do kit handovers, they're all going to be automatic superstars? Of course not, because it still depends on those people and what kind of desire they have to be successful. But on average, distributors who are started correctly will always do better than those who are not. So it's important that you make sure you do not overlook this part. Now, the kit handover locks down the details of what type of distributor they will become. One of the following: either a user, a referrer, a retailer, or network builder, and precisely what kind of level they'll be operating at. And it also helps your distributor to give a firm date and commitment as to when they are going to activate their account by going to 3-star, the $200 investment we talked about. And remember that this is key. So the kit handover's purpose is really to get them to tell you when they're doing their first order and when they're activating. So then get a firm commitment for the orientation, where you will pass on the 8 steps to success, which is what we're doing this very minute. And here you will help them write down their dream. And you remember, we did a pretty detailed study of the dream, and then get an action cycle going. In other words, what kind of activities are they going to be doing every day, and lock down the training schedule. So these are very cardinal. And I can tell you, like with this 90-day challenge strategy and all these video trainings, I am telling you, lock every one of your downlines into this whole group and get them into this 90-day challenge and get them into these email series. Get them serious with receiving their emails, reading them, following what instructions are there, because this is one of the most powerful ways in which you can ensure that your downlines are remaining learning. And then from there, they're going to go out there and they're going to put into practice what they're learning. Now, here are the 7 daily things that your downline should be doing. Number 1, they should be contacting you as an upline. If you're a downline, contact your upline. Number 2, you should be using your products. Number 3, you should be adding new names to your list, so you never stop adding new names to your list for those to prospect. Number 4, you should be inviting to the meetings every day, and sure you do that. Number 5, you should be doing presentations or attending one or directing people to one. And then number 6, you should be following up all the yeses and nos. In other words, you have to get to the conclusion of every lead. And then number 7, join the meetings and trainings as often as possible. So whenever there's a meeting anywhere, do not miss it. Make sure you're there so that you're able to learn from those meetings. Now let's move on to check and service and see how exactly we go about doing that. So there are 3 standards basically when it comes to this process. Number 1 one is personal and team purchases. You see, every distributor must be doing purchases, and alliance members, in other words, people that are going to be part of this 90-day challenge, we are pushing you to do $100 every month as use of products. Now, whether you're going to use those products or sell them, it really doesn't matter, but on your name, put a minimum $100. And then number 2, the number of meetings distributor has attended, as well as the team, and also how many coaching sessions done, as well as kit handovers and orientations. These are very, very important, because what we're saying here, very simply, is that we want to see you actually effectively run and utilize every particular training that is available. So the meetings are very cardinal, and when we get into the 90-day challenge, there are forms you're going to learn about, which you will fill up, which will help you to keep track of these numbers. And then the number of invitees. How many invites do you have every week? How many attended the meetings, and how many registrations at the end of all that exercise? You see, it's very important to know, especially how many registrations, because sometimes the method of invitation can lead to very, very bad registration lists. If your numbers are way lower than the reality, in other words, I gave you a statistic. I said for every 10 invitations, you have about 3 registrations at the end of the day, somewhere down the line, whether it's 1 week later, 1 month later. And so on average, if you're inviting 25 people, you should have 7 attending meetings. And if you're inviting 25 people are attending your meetings, you should have about 7 to 10 joining. So in short, if you're doing this thing well, every month you should be registered not less than between 10 and 20 new distributors. Now, if you're doing 25 to 30 invitations a week, that means you're doing 100 a month, and from the 100 you should have somewhere between 7 to 20 new registrations. So now, if you're not having those numbers, that means you have to begin to look at the kind of people you're inviting, the method you're using to invite, what words you're saying in your invitation, because these can have a very big role to play in whether people respond or they do not respond. Now, listen, we have something very interesting. When you're dealing with people that you've brought in, especially those that are going to be part of your team, and you want to check and service them, especially checking with them, we have what we call the 6-minute diagnosis. Now, the first thing is, obviously, you need to always know why they are doing the business. Why are you doing this business? And then secondly, you got to ask yourself, is there a name list that you have created? Then you have to see that name list. And then number 3, what is the success rate of the invitations? This is very, very important, because as I said earlier on, some methods of invitation are very, very bad. For example, some people will create posters, and on the posters they'll say jobs, jobs, jobs. That is a totally wrong way to do it, because what you're going to do is you're going to be attracting people who are coming looking for jobs, and not individuals that are coming looking to start a business. And so that means you're getting the wrong prospects altogether. And now if you get the wrong prospects, that means they will certainly not be responding to your business opportunity. So that's the wrong way to invite. So how you invite determines what kind of responses you have. We call it congruency in our business. And then number 4, results from the presentations. In other words, how many people are registering after the presentation? How many are you bringing in, and then how many are going on to register? Again, I have learned that if the invitation is wrong, the registrations will be far less. So in other words, attract the right people to the opportunity, and you have a greater chance at success with the business and with the registrations. And what is the situation with the follow-up? How much follow-up is going on? Are you following up as often as possible, or are you one of those that's just literally bringing them in as soon as they join, you leave them on the side? This is one of the reasons why we actually see a lot of distributors become very frustrated, because you bring in people but you notice they're not growing. And I have come to learn the hard way over the years that this has a lot to do with our bad follow-up. In fact, every key great networker will tell you the key and the magic is in the follow-up. So how well are you following up your prospects? Both those that haven't joined and those that have joined. Follow-up never ends, my friends. Hear me. Follow-up never ends. Now, continuing. Service is the most important with regards to customers, even if the customer only buys one product. In other words, you've got to be servicing these people on a regular basis, okay? Now we continue. Common reasons why clients stop buying from you. Now this is purely sales. The minor extent is that they move to other locations, they get attracted by another brand, and other reasons we may not be familiar with. But can you imagine that 66% of the reasons why people stop buying from you is because of poor service and attitude from you, the vendor? So it's very important how well you practice your attitude, how well you top up your service game. And this is why every great distributor is always learning. Make sure you buy all the books there are on selling, especially from Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy. They've done some awesome manuals on exactly how to effectively sell powerfully to individuals. So make sure you do that. You get out there and you train and learn as much as possible so that you can be effective in your presentations and in how you market. Now, how to keep customers for life? Here's some simple tips. Number one, contact them within 24 hours of selling. Handle all objections and concerns that may come up. So in other words, after they buy from you, within 24 hours, get in touch with them, see if they've started using the products and find out how they're doing with them. And then number two, contact within 1 week to see the progress, and then also become an accountability partner. In other words, you might find a lot of people have bought your calcium but they haven't even started taking it. So make sure you follow them up and see what's happening. And then service after 1 month. And you will be amazed that if you do that, you may have just 10-15 customers, and those alone will be enough to give you all your sales that you need on a monthly basis. Now, let's move on to number 8, which is how to copy or duplicate the system. Number 1 is that you're going to learn that you have to stick with your new people. In other words, guide them through the business in every way. Watch how that's done. The first 2 weeks, you are literally married to them. So you're going to be in touch with them on almost a daily basis. If you both live in the same city or same vicinity, you're going to be picking them up. You're going to be with them. You're going to be finding out if they're doing their kit handovers, if they've got anybody who's joining. You're going to be helping them with their name list. You're going to be helping them with the processing of those name lists. You're going to be helping them with invitation. There's so many processes that you'll be walking them through in as far as network building is concerned. And that's why the orientation and the kit handover are such a great way to bond and create some kind of relationship with these new people. So in short, if you're not having any of these going on, then it'll be very difficult for you to create a relationship with them, and then it won't work. So the first week, follow up daily. Second week, once every 3 days. And then ensure you take them through the kit handover first, then the 8 steps to success next. And you can do that both through the videos on the internet and live. And one of the keys that I always tell people is that even when you're doing it through the internet, you follow them up to see how far they've gone. Now, ensure you oversee the process with their first 3 to 5 new downlines. This way you coach them by showing them. Have you seen that? So that means that when these people join and then they get people joining under them, you're going to help them help their people to connect into the whole system so that they get a full understanding of exactly how to run all the concern. Now, never train downlines without their presence. Never train a downline without their presence. In short, what we're saying is always ensure that first and foremost your downline is there. That is when you direct and train the other downline. So don't ever, overstep your downline, because what you're doing there is you're becoming the go-to guy. You're going to become the resource person, and no one is going to learn anything. Everybody will be depending on you and waiting for you to come and sort it out for them. And that's the worst way to build any network business, because soon you'll be overwhelmed and you will be hauling buckets, as we always say. What you want to be doing in this business is building pipelines. Now, in short, do not train for your downline, guide them instead. Only train if the downline is no longer able to continue with the business for whatever reason, in which case you then adopt their downline. So if you get the process right, you only move in completely when the upline to that particular downline has gone to sleep. So let's say you introduce A into the business, and then A introduces B, C, and D. B, C, and D are very keen to do the business. They're very keen to learn, but A is not available to conduct training. A is not available to do any kind of guidance. And so in such a case, obviously once you see that A is not serious, then you can go down and adopt B, C, and D. But remember, if A is available at all times, you must point B, C, and D to person A, not to yourself. Always point them back to person A. Always point them back to their distributor or upline who brought them into the business. Now continuing. Now you also have to plan and schedule with your new distributors by setting up 60 days in advance. Get their diary, lock down all the OPTs that you're going to be having, all the home meetings and trainings, and anything else that you deem important. Every major annual event must be locked down as well. Now I want to go back to the trainings. For example, you have to make sure that your downline locks into this training that we're doing right now online. It's very, very important. And then you must follow them up to see how much training they've done and how much they've learned and what they're putting into practice following what they've followed online. Because if they don't do that, then your downlines are still stuck basically. They're not going anywhere. So ensure you follow them up and see that they have gone through this training. If they've got no internet at home, let them go to a net cafe, but they have to go through this with notes and everything. They have to print out the training material. They have to follow what's on the training, and they have to put into practice everything that's there. Because when we get into the 90-day challenge, the idea is that we're going to have them running full throttle with all the information and knowledge, and you do not want anybody doing 90-day without a good understanding of what they're doing. So that's very, very important. Now, incentives also. We know the company always has annual events and ceremonies. I've already told you that, which are always, almost on clock. One of them is the China trip. We've got that, and we may have some special incentives like like projectors and cameras and phones, and then we also have the cash incentives where they're giving up to $1,000 for various activities done. These are things that you must let your downlines know early enough so that they know what to do. And then you at the same time, you have to have them understand all these annual awards and what they could be entitled to. And that's where now the goal setting that we do, where you learn how to quickly get to 8-star and then onto bronze, silver, and gold, and the cash benefits that come with that, is very, very important that they understand that part as well, so that they're able to benefit fully once these things come through. Now, we've got the Millionaires Alliance 12-level training, which you'll be seeing as we go into the 90-day challenge. So these things will be clearly locked in there for you to be able to fully integrate and take advantage of. Now, listen. I'm going to close this meeting by giving you a very simple formula. We call the KISS formula, which is to keep it simple, straight, and short. If in short, let's get this whole training that we've done locked down in 5 simple steps. You remember we've been doing the kit handover. We had a first part to that and a second part to that. Then we've done the orientation, the first part to it, the second part to it, and now we're doing the third part to this. But let's just lock it down. What are the 5 simple, duplicable, memorable activities? These 5 things are the things that they should memorize. So let's look at those 5 key step duplication formula. Number 1, every new person should join and activate, and that's with a $20, that is your registration fee, and a $200, which gets you products which you can then either consume or sell. But if you haven't got enough money, remember the aim here is to make this into a running active business. So obviously this should be your stock and you should be recycling it, and remember not to eat your capital. And then number 2, maintain with $100 monthly through sales or consumption or both. So the maintenance of $100 monthly is cardinal, because when everybody in the network gets this kind of numbers going, then the income really begins to kick in, and you will be able to really see big monies coming in very quickly. So the key is $100 maintenance. If you remember the presentation, especially the actual opportunity presentation, we talked about $100. You are now familiar and aware that we've got different levels of maintenance in the company, but we are teaching that you do $100 minimum as an alliance member, as a 90-day challenge person, and then you'll see the money kick in. And then undergo kit handover and full orientation. That's the third step. for every new person. And then number 4, recruit 5 committed distributors. Now, to get 5 committed distributors, I will not lie, it's going to take you a while to really get these serious people. And then number 5, get them to duplicate the above process. So in other words, everybody that comes in then duplicates everything that you've seen up here. And if that can be done, my friends, you've got this whole system going. So that, my friends, brings us to the end of the 3rd session of the orientation. From here, we're going to have a video that's going to be running later on. You're going to learn from that, and that is the 9 core qualities of network leaders, which is absolutely awesome. And you need to get to know those 9 steps and practice them alongside everything that you're seeing here. So I am looking forward to see you at the top. I'm looking forward to hearing how successful you become. And remember, plug in every one of your downlines to this system. Get them to send those emails, because we will have to approve them and they will be on their way to success. I am so looking forward to seeing you with me as we go to receive all the various prizes that are given by the company. So from me, your host, Reverend Walter Mwambazi, trainer and international lecturer, this is the orientation in full. Look out for the 90-day challenge. Those of you that want to go to the absolute next level and start making serious money in this business right from the day that you decide to be serious, you're going to be locking into the 90-day challenge, which is starting very soon. So take care of yourself and see you soon.